this meeting to order. Folks will note the absence of Mr. Krim, unfortunately, just come back from vacation, couldn't join us tonight. And Jean's departed for the summer. But we have a very, very, very rich agenda for us tonight, hopefully. So I would ask for approval of that agenda.
So
Have a second? No, there we go. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Minutes from the June 12th meeting, were there any, we're still, we don't have them yet. Okay, you'll get those via email, just remember, don't reply all if you have any corrections. And then we'll take care of it later. But, yeah.
okay,
Taking your glasses off to make up the point. All right, so we'll hold off on that. For the mayor's report, let me start off by thanking all those who were involved in organizing the concert at Avon Hall. The 4th of July weekend, first Drew Mitchell throwing open the gates of Avon Hall for yet another wonderful concert. Of course, to John Bourgeois for bringing together such a great group of musicians for the performance that night. I'd also like to thank Marianne Kuhn, Judy DeSarno, and John Fox Sullivan for all they did to organize it. And there are many others, so I won't try to get the whole list, but just want to highlight a few of those. Many of you on your way over here this evening might have noticed that there's water trickling down the street. Our plan to begin looking at the valves in town was very effective. We made it all the way to the second one that we needed to test before a valve cracked. We're working to manage that. One thing that does highlight is over the coming months, we're working on a plan to slowly work our way through the remainder of the valves and see what we can do with contractors to do some of that work at night and visually check valves. And we're going to also order a few in advance so we can hopefully avoid this sort of situation as we work our way through the rest of the system. But appreciate everybody's patience with the various boil water trees that induces. One of the other, I know Brad will talk a little bit about other infrastructure things. One of the other interesting things we discovered when we went to do the testing is we tested the line. We were going to test the line running from the pump house to the reservoir, and then we realized that it actually has been in use all these years that we thought it was closed. And whatever leak there is there must be completely incidental because we have not noticed the need for tracking of our water usage every month. So
When did you do that?
on Monday, I went and looked at the valves and they were all broken. So.
Thank you for letting me know about that.
And I think that will conclude for the mayor's report for the time being. We are looking at the possibility of having the ice cream social sometime in August. More people on that one, thinking a Saturday afternoon, perhaps, to have a nice chance to get together. And I think that pretty much wraps up anything I have to give.
no, nothing for me. It's too early to do a decent reconcile at the end of the report, so no report from you.
I would like to add one thing to the mayor's report, which I didn't get a chance to alert you, but we had the first of what I hope is many block parties over in our area, and that was a lot of fun.
Good.
So I think we had, about 20 people?
Yeah.
So the hour-and-a-half event ended up being about 3 hours.
Yeah,
So
it's
everyone had a
only
good
on
time.
sale now.
So I urge other citizens in different parts of the town to consider doing a block party. It was great fun.
Get rid of money.
Nice that the council doesn't have to do mine for every social event. That's great. Fred, you actually want to just go ahead and comment on
Sure.
Since we're normally having on the agenda.
Yeah, so we had, I think I mentioned last month that we had been looking at getting a transportation alternative program grant from the Virginia Department of Transportation. Their application process, their pre-application process is a Sisyphean effort. And they use a different language than the rest of us use. However, I was able to go through it. The good news is we were able to submit the pre-application on time. The pre-application basically puts us on their radar. If it's completed well, and thanks to Mr. John Price over in the Virginia Department of Transportation, I would not have been able to do it without his enormous help. We were able to submit it on time. And this was originally when we talked about doing three different sidewalks: Warren Avenue, Main Street, 2 blocks of Main Street, and Mount Salem Avenue. It ended up, VDOT throws in a lot of extra potential costs in their process. For instance, they do $100,000 in the preliminary engineering phase for roadways, even though this is for sidewalks. And so that was part of what was in there. There was $250,000 for right-of-way acquisition. And there were a number of other costs. They also added 20% inflationary adjustment, since it will not be until probably 2027 that this project will be completed, if it ever happens. Just to do, so they said to do all three of them was going to be about $5 million, $5 or $6 million, based on their estimations. So basically, going off what the council had discussed before, I talked with the mayor and talked with the treasurer, and it seemed that the Warren Avenue was the most important from a safety perspective, and so I focused on that. That alone ended up being $1.766 million, so almost $1.8 million. I want to emphasize at this point, the town has not made any commitment. It will not have to make a commitment until and if we decide to do a proposal, which will be due in early October. But I did want to give you that the good news, which is that we've gotten through the pre-application process, and the bad news is that the cost was much higher than we anticipated. The next step is to have the planners come out and meet not only about Warren Avenue, but also to look kind of a 20-year plan for all the sidewalks and other intermodal things that we want to get done in the town. And they're going to help us and figure out when they can put that on their list of things to be done, and so on and so forth. So I'll meet with planners, and during that process, we might be able to get a better estimate and knock down this 1.766 million figure.
And for that's, we have to put up 20%.
20%. Yeah. We'd have to put up 20%.
$50,000 or so.
Yeah. And there are some challenging parts. The most challenging is that VDOT would want to have a seamless transition from the sidewalk on the side of the church, sidewalk along Middle Street, that would connect. So in other words, no stairs. So either they'd have to do a grade or do a cross, move down to where there's more of a flat surface, do a crosswalk there, and then a sidewalk back down or something, I don't know. He felt that the planner felt that was going to be a bit of a challenge. So anyway, they live in a different world. They have to deal with ADA regulations. They have to deal with a number of other things that we don't normally have to deal with. So it was an eye-opening experience at the very least. So I will keep you apprised. And again, the town has not made any commitment, nor would I commit the town without getting formal approval from the town council. I just want to give you a heads up at this point.
Thanks for that one.
Yeah. By the way, we did get approvals, if I can speak on the trail, we finally got approvals from the landowners written approvals from the landowners that we would have the trail going across for the vast majority of it. And so we are in the process of getting ready to submit a proposal to a local foundation, 2 local foundations, to provide the funding for that, and also to enhance the trail that goes from Washington School down to Lakewood Lane. So hope to get those submitted soon so that we can start working on those this fall.
Thank you for stepping in there. We didn't have, Mr. Garrison's not here tonight, but he's something that we've noticed. We did have a report from him, and zoning, or the planning commission did meet. You see the minutes in there as well. Nothing too exciting about those meetings.
I did want to ask, and I may have missed this before, it's Pleasant View subdivision?
That's Pleasant View subdivision is the blue, it's, what's her name?
Mary Ann's old house.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mary's old house, Stanton's.
So there's I know it was like 4 or 5 properties down there.
Right.
Yeah, it's a whole subdivision of lots.
It's
I think it's like 4.
It's only 4.
Yeah.
It's only 4 lots. But what she is likely not going to do. So, okay. All right. Brad, I know I got to start on balance, but you want to pick up?
No, nothing there.
All right. Is there any other comments from the council? Well, in this case, I'll open it to the public. Nancy?
As you go through the valves,
Yes, ma'am.
we'll have boil water notices again.
Yes.
How long?
It should only be, was it 24 hours or is it 48?
48. I have to have the 2 clean tests,
Okay.
24 hours apart from each
So we're
other.
going to try to string them out so they're well apart, so we're not going it all the time.
I didn't get a notice. Usually I get an email notice. I didn't get an email notice for the end of the boil water period this time. If I could,
Okay,
Make
we'll double
sure.
check the list and make sure that you're on there.
that,
Apologies.
There was an email sent out,
Yeah. But we'll
so
just make sure
somehow
those
we
make
may
sure.
not have gotten on that.
I put enough water aside this time. The first time that happened, I didn't. It was tedious, but we did better. And second item, in the meanwhile, for walking to the post office, they keep this 200-foot yard, whatever, wide patch behind the courthouse complex mowed. And they mow a path fairly close to Warren Avenue, but then they leave it. And so there are brambles and poison ivy and all sorts of stuff. So you can't get up onto Warren Avenue. If somebody could just mow in there a little bit more, coming down from the large patch, Drew Mitchell keeps his part mowed, and it makes a safe passage for most of the way to the post office because you come down behind the courthouse, no traffic. And if they could connect the mowing to his plot, I could walk right on down and then just have to get on Warren Avenue a little bit.
I think that's a great idea. The impediment is that for about 9 months of the year, that area that's not mowed is wetlands. This time of year, it should be dried out, but most of the time it's pretty wet.
I've walked it in winter, and it's fine. Right up there, close to the road, it's fine. But in summer, it's not. I mean, it's full of weeds.
We'll talk to the
Okay.
way. and see
I would say in the
everything.
meantime, if you want, I would recommend maybe going along that alley, going down that.
I do. But
It's nicer to go along the grass area, I agree.
right, and it's safer. Going down the alley, you still have the full length of Warren Avenue to the post office, but that space that attaches to Drew Mitchell's property makes a nice, safe walk.
We'll check the county and see if we can read about mowing that additional area.
Or other comments at this time?
Very suspicious. All right, with that, I will close the public forum. I will.
I move.
Hold on. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. However, I'm going to say that. That's what I was getting to. Thank you. Like Mr. Jefferson, I believe that government is best that governs the least. And in that vein, I'm going to suggest that we adjourn until our regular scheduled meeting in September. If there is an emergency, we can of course schedule a special meeting, but I don't have any. I think our agenda for August would look a lot like this agenda. And,
I'd like to make a motion that has two parts to it. One is that we cancel the August meeting, and the second is that we adjourn.
okay. Do I have a second?
Okay, I'm sorry, what was the second part?
To adjourn
Yeah.
this
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. See you in the fall.